Silver the Hedgehog will be in Sonic 4. And I can prove it! Or at least make a pretty compelling argument. And I mean, everyone loves Silver, and is eagerly awaiting his debut on the big screen, right?
Meh.
Let's start by running through everything we know about Sonic 4, and how Silver will be worked in from there. At face value, it appears that Sonic 4 will be a Sonic CD adaptation that also draws a lot of influence from the first Terminator film. Amy Rose travels back in time to protect Sonic from his Robo counterpart, Metal Sonic. Or more so, a whole army of them. Though I'd be shocked if there wasn't a Prime Metal Sonic. Concept art from Sonic 3's home release reveals that this metal uprising seems to be the result of Eggman's ambition as he now rules the world with an iron fist. I feel like this, alongside art where Amy saves Sonic from a giant robot, were ideas for what the movie 3 post-credits scene could have been, which is why they were released in the first place. But odds are, these ideas will still work their way into Sonic 4, even if they look a little different. Also, I don't expect Sonic 4 to pick up exactly where this post-credit scene left off. It'll probably be like how Sonic 2's post-credit scene set up Shadow, but movie 3 completely disregarded how they set him up, going with what works best for the movie rather than being consistent with the hook they came up with a couple of years ago. These post-credits are more of a proof of concept than anything. The designs and context that they exist within aren't final. Fun fact, Amy isn't just biting off Kyle Reese from Terminator here. It seems like movie Amy will also be taking influence from Sonic the comic, where Amy becomes an adventurer with her BFF Techno as they traverse time and space through the use of the Eternity Ring. That's right, time-traveling Amy has a president in this franchise. Sonic the comic also had an antagonist group called the Brotherhood of Metalites, which were essentially an army of Metal Sonics, although they were created by Grimmer and not Eggman. With all this laid out on the table, I can't help but see this setup as the perfect opportunity to bring in Silver the Hedgehog, my absolute favorite character of the series. Contrary to what you may assume, bringing him in this fourth movie instead of waiting later would be a genius move, both narratively for the films after Sonic 4 and financially for Paramount. You might be wondering, why Silver? How's he the missing piece in all this? Well, with everything we know, I can't help but wonder who the hell sent Amy to the past in the first place. Despite the Sonic the comic influence, I doubt we're going to see the Ring of Eternity or any elements exclusive to the Fleetway comics. I don't even know if they're legally allowed to use them. I'm also not sure if we'll see the Time Stones from Sonic CD. The Chaos Emeralds already got lumped into the Master Emerald in this universe. It seems like they want to keep all the powerful rock stuff relatively simple, so I can only assume that she's able to time travel thanks to two characters. Future Tales, because duh, bro's a genius. Who else would build a time machine? And Silver the Hedgehog. After all, he's heavily associated with time travel and wanting to change the future at all costs. It's like his thing, man! The Terminator influence and the whole setup of Amy arriving from the future to prevent an apocalyptic event implies that there's a resistance who's losing the battle against Metal and Eggman. I just can't see a go back in time to prevent a bad end future story happening without the inclusion of Silver. I think Amy going back in time to save Sonic will actually be Silver's plan. There's some foundation for Silver and Amy to work together as a team. These two were a part of duos in their respective time-traveling stories, but there's no chance in hell Techno's making it in before the vastly more popular characters who have actually had game appearances, and Blaze would probably be saved for a Sonic Rush movie, as at least that would be more of a pirate adventure film that could stand out from the rest of the series. Which brings us to the infamous Sonic 06, where Silver and Amy did spend some time together as Amy initially mistakes him for Sonic. You actually play a whole stage with Silver and Amy. This team up lasts for more than a cutscene. It's a notable part of his campaign. The two are oblivious to the fact that they're both looking for the same person, and once Silver tries to attack Sonic, Amy saves her beloved by defending him from Silver's wrath. I could actually see this making it into the movie as the obligatory downer moment in Act 2. Maybe a desperate Silver turns on Sonic and suggests meddling with the timeline so that Sonic never comes to Earth and meets Eggman, ensuring that Metal Sonic can't be created in the first place, only for Amy to literally knock some sense into him with her hammer. Or you know, he could suggest going back in time and killing him before he meets Eggman. That just sounded too dark to lead with. But considering Sonic inadvertently created Eggman's origin story, that could be a viable plot point, one that harkens back to Silver's debut, though I don't think it would paint him in the best light in the eyes of general audiences. Now, a lot of people dismiss the idea of My Boy Silver making it into movie 4, as there'd be too many characters to establish in one film, as we already have Amy and Metal. But I think that sentiment is overcomplicating things. I think people feel as if Tails and Knuckles in movie 2 is as good as it could get with introducing major characters, as it did a great job integrating them into this world. They both have plenty of great moments here, but lest we forget, the first movie introduced Sonic, the Wachowskis, Eggman, and Agent Stone, giving us a great feel for all of their personalities. I know people want to downplay the Wachowskis because, human characters that aren't Team Robotnik, but they are main characters in these films who were given solid introductions along the characters fans care more about. You could argue movie 3 shows us the danger of introducing too many characters at once, as Christian Ritter's character was just sort of there and didn't really amount to anything, but I chalk that up to how much ended up on the cutting room floor. It's not like she was the only one who got shafted. Eggman had a whole streamer arc that was reduced to a callback during his big sacrifice. A callback that no one knew was supposed to be a callback. Even if one character fell flat, we still got Shadow, Gerald, and Maria. All three have enough screen time to understand their characters in this universe. Heavy on this universe, because obviously movie Maria and Gerald have some distinct differences from their game counterparts. You get it though. I think they could do a fine enough job bringing Amy, Metal, and Silver into the cinematic universe in one film without any of the three getting shafted. Not to mention, we have no clue if this Metal Sonic will even speak, or if Sonic will end up sharing a psychic link with him. If Metal's just beeping and popping, that frees up some screen time. And to be frank, I think people are overestimating how much screen time Metal Sonic needs to drive the point home that he desperately wants to prove he's superior to his organic counterpart. If anything, I expect Metal to feed into whatever arc Sonic has in this movie, more than having a super fleshed out arc like Shadow's. And I expect Silver to be mainly relegated to scenes set in the future, as he's caught up in the war, whereas Amy's the one actually tagging along with Sonic and friends throughout the film. Aside from concerns of movie 4 introducing too many characters, another big reason people are resistant to the idea of Silver popping up in movie 4 is that they want him to have a movie all to himself like Shadow did. After all, he's the third hedgehog of the Aura trio. But hot take, Silver couldn't carry the marketing for a movie all by himself like Shadow did. Even if you casted someone like, I don't know, Tom Holland? Timmy Turner? The Rock? Silver's fanbase is pretty niche compared to the likes of Knuckles, Shadow, or even Amy, due to the lack of focus in mainline games, and being introduced in the game that ruined Sonic's perception for a bit. And while Amy and Metal are huge characters with a substantial amount of fans, the two combined don't have enough star power to match Shadow. If you ask the average nerd who's familiar with Sonic, but not a super hardcore fan, what these characters are about, you'd get Sonic's girlfriend, Robot Sonic, the ultimate life form who lived on the space colony arc 50 years ago with his best friend Maria before being tragically torn apart by fate. I don't think Amy or Metal are as popular as the characters who came before them in these films. And it makes me wonder if they're enough for this movie to make as much or more than Sonic 3. The Sonic Adventure 2 association went a long way. But if you throw in one more hedgehog, one who's recognizable to Sonic fans, yet not all that well known to general audiences, and use that lack of familiarity as intrigue to go see the movie, then you may have a hit that can contend with its predecessor in the box office, if not surpass it. But let's switch gears and talk about which games this movie would be based off of with Silver in the mix. The movie franchise has shown its willingness to pull from different games and mix all the elements together. Sonic Adventure 1 has been sprinkled all over these adaptations, with the presence of the Echidna tribe in Sonic's origin, and Pachacamac popping up in Knuckles. The second movie is a blend of Sonic 2 and 3, Tails' introduction, the birth of Super Sonic, and the Death Egg robot hailing from Sonic 2, while Knuckles' introduction, the Master Emerald, and Knuckles being manipulated by Eggman are all pulled right from Sonic 3. The Knuckles show draws influence from all over the franchise, but I think the most notable thing was how it nabbed Iblis and the Flames of Disaster from Sonic 06, which leads me to believe that we'll never see a proper adaptation of 06, as those are pretty significant plot elements. I know. What about Mephiles? I say if they really want to work him in, I'm sure they'll figure that out. If anything, they can find a way to make the timeline shenanigans in this movie somehow awaken him so he's an active character in the present moving forward. Sonic Movie 3 doesn't really combine any games together. It's as close to a Sonic Adventure 2 movie as you could get, although it did dash my hopes for an Unleashed movie. But it's in the best interest of Sonic Movie 4 to adapt multiple games instead of pulling from only CD. The key to the continued success of these films isn't just throwing in more characters, it's keeping the story fresh. And although people want 06 to be adapted in its own film where Silver could have plenty of time to shine as a misguided hero with his sights set on Sonic, it'd come across as just another time travel movie. Movie 4 did it first. Boring! And in my opinion, unless your series is built around time travel, that's a trick you can only pull off once. Especially as it's known to complicate things. If they did Sonic CD in one film and 06 in the next one, a casual moviegoer will just think,
I made these games before!
I mean, not the actual games, maybe they did, but you know, they've seen the time travel gimmick in these movies already. I think it's better to knock two birds with one stone and have movie 4 mix together parts of CD, Silver's campaign in Sonic 06, and stick with me because I fucking hate this game! But Sonic Forces, there I said it. I mean, Eggman taking over the world and a Sonic-less resistance desperately tries to fight back? That's Forces! But this time, they can do that premise justice, instead of executing it in the laziest, most anticlimactic way possible. This is the story that I'm envisioning. In the distant future, Eggman has taken over the world with an army of Metal Sonics, utilizing the power of the stolen Master Emerald to mass produce and imbue them with unfathomable power. I don't think Wade could defend himself from Metal Sonic, sorry guys. This army branches out beyond Earth and invades other planets such as Mobius, which is how the other characters can get roped in. The real Sonic, our beloved hero, either died in battle or went missing due to time travel shenanigans. Without Sonic, a resistance formed to stand against the robot army, but ultimately, more and more soldiers fell until they were left with just Silver, Amy, and Tails. A flashback scene of the resistance could even tease a whole bunch of characters for the future. You don't even need to show them outright, just allude to them. Do you know how hard my jaw would drop if Espio Shuriken was just shown on the ground, implying his ass is grass? Desperate and running out of options, the resistance decides to divide and conquer. Tails creates a machine that can send Amy back in time to save Sonic, with the intent of not only preventing Eggman's rise, but bringing Sonic back to the future to fight the good fight. But maybe bringing Sonic to the future is what causes his disappearance in the first place. While Amy is with the gang in the past, Silver holds down the fort in the future with his telekinetic abilities and sheer determination. Although that determination clouds his judgment as he starts to question if Sonic is really the key to saving the future. Elsewhere, the main Metal Sonic that's chasing Sonic and Amy through time begins to gradually desire his own freedom, planting the seeds for Eggman to suffer another Act 3 betrayal. Maybe Eggman will see Metal as the son he never had, which makes his mutiny a little upsetting. The big climax sees Super Sonic and Super Silver take on Metal Overlord, while Amy and the rest of the gang take on the remainder of the robot army. And by the end of the film, Amy chooses to live in the present with Sonic and friends, while Silver stays in the future to rebuild. I'm assuming it'd be a branched timeline deal where, yeah, they can prevent this awful future, but the world Amy and Silver come from still exists. They still have to clean that mess up. I don't know, time travel's weird. Maybe they go into it thinking they can undo the future, but once they realize it's a branch timeline deal, they put their best foot forward just to ensure this doesn't happen again. Still, this would give us a new addition to the main cast with Amy, while leaving Silver's story open-ended for any spin-offs or his return in a sequel. To conclude my Silver cope, there has to be one more big reveal coming for movie 4, and I believe that Silver makes the most sense. Movie 1 introduced Tails in the post-credit scene, only for Idris Elba to hit us with the shocking reveal that he's playing Knuckles the following year. Movie 2 made it clear that Shadow was coming, and the first trailer for movie 3 ended with the mic drop that Jim Carrey was playing two Eggmen, with the introduction of Gerald. So if we already know Amy and Metal Sonic are coming in the next movie through movie 3's post-credit scene, and Jim Carrey returning wouldn't be much of a surprise at this point, I could see us getting an announcement either later this year or early next year that confirms Silver for this film. I have been waiting for Silver to have his big moment, and while a lot of people may prefer him to have the spotlight all on his own, for the reasons I've listed today, I think making him and Amy a duo in movie 4 would be the best way to give him the spotlight. And if Sonic Team plays their cards right, this could line up with some new Silver content in the games so that everyone can see just how great his character really is. Yes, my favorite Dragon Ball character is Future Trunks. Why do you ask? As always, these are just my thoughts and I'd love to hear yours. Do you think Silver's gonna be in movie 4 or is it just gonna be Amy and Metal? What do you wanna see? Let us know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please sort to like and subscribe to the Roundtable for more great cartoon content. Thank you for watching and I hope you have an awesome day. Peace.